Welcome to Two Fuse Wrestling. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the page if you believe Randy Orton is a legend, and show him the respect he deserves by hitting that like button, because that's what we're talking about this episode. Randy Orton. Rumors say that he might not be able to come back to wrestling again. We decided that, hey, let's just fantasy book what one last feud could look like for him before he hits retirement, if he's able to come back for a run like Edge came
If he's
back
got
for.
one more RKO in him.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let my partner tag in here and go over how he would fantasy book a final run
One
for Randy
final
Orton.
run. So my idea, a couple weeks beforehand, I would promote that Orton's going to be on Monday Night Raw to make a statement, and maybe the night of, open the show, you show him getting out of the car in the back, and he's kind of throughout the show just show him kind of interacting with people, like shaking hands, hugging people, like he could hug Riddle, like have a stare down with Triple H, but then they hug, something along those lines. And then obviously he's going to come out to huge fanfare, and I would basically have him announce his retirement. And as he's kind of like maybe waving goodbye, about to leave, you could have a new music hit. And then people are probably going to shit on this idea, but I would then debut Brian Pillman Jr., and I would have him come out dressed like his dad was when he made his ECW debut, with like the cane and the vest and the weird glasses and everything. I would do away with the mullet for right now. I don't think it's really working. I don't think it works for a heel debut. So I'd have him come out and kind of talk up Orton, saying how he always wanted to meet him. And the reason he always wanted to meet him is they have a lot in common, with both their dads being wrestlers and trying to follow in their footsteps. He could tell Orton how Cowboy Bob Orton was a legend and a Hall of Famer, but it's for doing nothing. He could say how no one has a favorite Cowboy Bob match or promo, and he could say how Bob Orton is in the Hall of Fame for essentially riding Roddy Piper's coattails. He'd say how Roddy was a rebel and a trailblazer, and just like his dad, Brian Pillman. He'd talk about Brian Pillman changed the wrestling business, and he's not in the Hall of Fame or really talked about as a legend. Everyone talks about the McMahons, the Harts, the Ortons, the Rhodes, and the Guerrero families. And then he could say how he's going to make sure no one forgets the name Pillman, and then, as Orton used to do, spit in Orton's face. And then from there you could go on to their match, and you could go either way. Orton could win, or Pillman could win, and Orton could ride off into the sunset. But this whole idea, like, it's all on the shoulders of Brian Pillman. He's going to have to deliver the promo, and he's going to have to, like, show up in the match. But I think that would be a great way to debut Brian Pillman, send Orton away by putting over a younger star, and maybe introducing a new legend killer.
Dude, I fucking love that idea. You talk about a debut for someone, like, that would be huge.
To me, it makes sense for Pillman to pick up the legend killer gimmick, because he could just talk about how his dad didn't get any respect. Like, say you have a new, like, Orton would go around and he would, RKO legends, random legends that would show up, have Pillman come out and confront him, like, did you respect my father? And if they didn't, then he lays them out.
And the idea that he goes after, I like that idea with his dad, but also he's going after Bob Orton to start it off with, because like Randy could be like, well, fuck it, I got one more match in me, I'm going to defend my dad.
He's defending his father's honor.
I also like the idea that Randy goes out putting over another family, where it's like, I was a son of a wrestler, and now I'm going out putting over a son of a wrestler. You carry this tradition going on, like, hey, I'm going to help teach you, I'm going to help you, put you in a position where you can succeed like others put me in a position to succeed. I love that idea. Dude, that would be awesome, because I like Pillman a lot. So
yeah, that's what I'm hopeful for him under the WWE banner. And I feel like this thing works on like so many levels, because it's he disrespects Orton's father, so Orton's got to defend his father, and Brian Pillman thinks he's defending his father. And then who would understand Brian Pillman in this position better than Randy Orton, because that's the position he was in, trying to follow in those footsteps. And if this works and this gets over and plays out the way I would hope it does, down the line you could do Pillman and Cody for basically kind of the same thing. Like Cody's a second generation versus a second generation.
Also, lead into the fact that Cody learned under Randy Orton and Legacy for a
Yeah.
bit, so he's defending Randy Orton
Yeah.
now. For me, the way I would fantasy book it is, I don't have like necessarily a feud I want to see with Orton. It's more so I'm a huge Riddle guy, so like
Yeah.
I fucking love Matt Riddle. I understand he has some issues, but if Randy Orton's coming back for one last match, I really would like. I don't have guys it'd be against, but I would like Cody and Riddle to have to team up. They're going against these monsters. They're shorthanded. It's 2 against 3, kind of like that NWO thing
Yeah.
with when Hogan
Who's the
debuted.
third man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third man for them is Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And it calls back to his time with Riddle, calls back to his time with Cody, and Cody is by far GOAT to me already.
Yeah.
So him having that moment with Orton, I love Orton, and Riddle just getting to do something. And I understand why Riddle's not in the main event scene because they can't trust him.
Yeah.
100%, you could trust him for this with Randy Orton. You
But
could
that's
put
where-
this big thing on
Yeah.
him.
That's where I could see that happening too because, like I said, who understands Pillman better in that position? Who understands Riddle better in the position he's in than Orton? Orton had his issues with that where they would kind of give him a push, but they didn't trust him because of the way he acted and the things he did backstage. So it's the same thing, and maybe Orton's the guy that where he's like, you got to get your shit together.
And also, if he does this, if he comes through in this moment, it could be that moment where Orton's like, hey, this guy's ready. Like, he's got his
Yeah.
shit together. He's ready. You can trust him in the main event scene
Yeah.
now.
And I like that idea too because, like, if it's Cody and Riddle against like a team of killers, they need a killer, and who's a better killer than Randy Orton?
And the pop would be huge.
And I would love one more RKO, but more importantly, I would love one more punt.
Yeah. that would be awesome if they let him do that.
Yeah.
All right. So in the comments, let us know if Randy Orton got one last run in WWE, who would you like to see him feud with?